Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Cougar House Garage and another 5th Gen 4RUNNER straight axle project, aka Project Carnage. Today we're going to be working on the final welding on the front axle. We're going to go ahead, we got to get the front axle cleaned up, get the axle out from underneath the truck, put the axle truss on, weld it on, and then we can get all the overhead welding done for the frame plates. And then we're able, as soon as we're done with that, we'll be able to put the axle back underneath the front of the 4Runner, put the radius arms back on, bolt them back on, put the bags back in, bolt them down, and then the front will be done and I'll be ready to design up upper shock mounts, or shock towers and lower shock mounts. So hopefully we'll also be able to move on to welding the overhead welding for the frame cradle as well. And then in our next episode, we'll move on to welding out the rear frame bridge and axle truss then. And then as soon as those bushings show up to us for the rear radius arm mount, this piece right here, I got the outer perimeter of it set up. As soon as those bushings show up, I can get some DOM. You know, this will have one here, and will be another one this side, a piece of dome, 3-inch dome or so. Connecting them, that needs to be machined out so the bushing can be pressed into it. So this will get welded onto the axle, and then the radius arms will have a point to mount onto the rear axle. But that'll be in that upcoming episode after this one. So let's get started, guys. We got a bunch of welding to do. Cue the music. now that we got the axle in position, or more or less the axle truss tacked on, it's in its final position where it needs to be. Now we're ready to go ahead, and Derek's going to go ahead and use the floor vector. We're going to drag the axle out from underneath the 4Runner, and we'll get the axle truss welded together and welded on the axle for its final time, its final welding, and then we'll put the axle back under the 4Runner, mount the radius arms, panhard bar, and airbags, and we'll be done with the front. But before that, we have to do the welding on the frame plates. We'll do the underside overhead welding on those, and then once that's complete, we'll go ahead and put the axle back under there and reinstall it. So let's do it, guys. Let's weld this together. Cue the music.
Writers write what they know. Liars write what they wanna show. Singers sing what they told. But I know you got something else to say. Like secret language, speaking in tongues. Snake like tongue tied, you on the run. Tribal dancing, I don't know what you are, you are, you are, you are. Summer floating over my heart. We're both dancing over the dark side. I don't know who you are, you are, you are, you are. You got letters sprinkled all over your body. If I join up the dots, it makes me feel naughty. I feel like I shouldn't touch. You got a no touching sign. I feel like I shouldn't run. You're blocking the exit with your life. Addicted to light, center, always in the limelight. Show ya a real good time. Oh, I know you got something else for me. Like secret language, speaking in tongues. Snake like tongue tied, you on the run. Tribal dancing, I don't know what you are, you are, you are, you are. Summer floating over my heart. We're both dancing over the dark side. I don't know who you are, you are, you are, you are. You got letters sprinkled all over your body. If I join up the dots, it makes me feel naughty. I feel like I shouldn't touch. You got a no touching sign. I feel like I shouldn't run. You're blocking the exit with your life. Touching sign. You're blocking the exit with your life. Wherever love goes, there is also misery. It's no mystery. And you and I, we got history, yeah. Wherever love flows, there is also tragedy. When we're in too deep. And you and I, we got history, yeah. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. I'm sorry for all the pain. Go look in the mirror, say, hey, I'm sorry for all the pain. got history, yeah. And when you're alone, do you say my name or you say her name? Yeah. My love, it grows with the memories like a symphony. And you and I, we got history, yeah. Wherever love flows, there is also tragedy. When we're in too deep, and you and I, we got history, yeah.
All right, guys, we made some good progress. Derek and I got the front axle brought out from underneath the 4Runner. We got the frame bridge or the axle truss fully welded together, fully welded on the axle. The welds look phenomenal as usual because Derek did it. Just saying. So now that we got the axle back under there and in position, tomorrow we can re-hook up the radius arms and the panhard bar and stuff, and then mount the bags back up, and then we'll move on to the frame cradle, and we'll get that all its overhead done, all its overhead welding done, and then we'll probably weld together the rear frame bridge and get that installed as well. So we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Last night in my dreams, walking the streets, a summer ghost town. I tried
Alright guys, that's it for this episode of working on Project Carnage. It was overall a very successful couple days. We were able to get all of the welding done on the frame bridge, got that installed, welded onto the frame for its final time, and then we pulled the axle out from underneath the front, welded together the axle truss, and then welded that onto the axle. It looks beautiful. Those welds are just phenomenal that Derek lays down. So awesome. And then we were able to move on. Derek moved on from there, welded on the frame plates and tackled all the overhead welding there. That's not very much fun, but he nailed it. It looks perfect, looks super good. And then from there, he moved on and welded on the frame cradles. He did his root pass and his welds where he could get to before, in the future, we're going to pull off the cab and the powertrain and send off the frame to powder coating. We'll come back to those places and get all of that welded out without components in the way. So we'll tackle those then. And then we ran out of time. We weren't able to move on to the rear frame bridge or axle truss. But then we went ahead and we put the axle back underneath the front of the 4Runner, mounted up the radius arms again, installed the pan hard bar and airbags. And then we went ahead and pulled out one of the specialty Ford 2214 wides, bolted that on. Looks super good on the driver's side. I went to bolt on the passenger one, but my brake rotor's missing. I don't know where it went. I mean, I probably scrapped a bunch of stuff for some Dana 60s I had, and I think that brake rotor went with them. So I got to go to the parts store, grab a brake rotor, throw it on the passenger side, and then I can put the other 40 and specialty forged wheel on the passenger side on the front. And then we're all set to move on to shock mounts in the front. So that's all ready to do that. And then we'll move on to the rear in the next episode here, guys, and we'll pull off the frame bridge, fully weld that out, put the frame bridge on, weld it onto the frame, pull the axle out from underneath the truck, first set its pinion angle, pull it out from under the truck, weld it all out, and then put it back. And then as soon as the radius arm bushings show up, well, they actually did yesterday, I've got those, so I can go ahead and I can make radius arm bushing mounts for the rear axle for the radius arms to mount to. And then we're done on the suspension side with all the link components, and then we just got to move on to shock mounts and get those busted out, and we'll be all done with the suspension side of the 4Runner, and we get to move on to things like steering column down in the steering box, drive lines, and the transfer case swap that I'll bring you guys along with. That'll be pretty interesting. I'm sure you guys are excited about that. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching today. Thanks for your constant support as always. If you like Cougar House Garage, you like what we do, like and subscribe, hit the bell up there so you guys get notifications when I upload new videos. And check us out at cougarhousefab.com. We're working on the website right now. We're getting it together as fast as we can. Pretty soon you'll be able to order up your Cougar House Fab 4-link kit and Cougar House Fab products for your Ford, Chevy, Dodge, Toyota 4Runner, or 3rd Gen Tacoma. So that'll be pretty cool. Look out for that there, guys. And if you guys want to check us out at Facebook.com/Cougar House Garage and follow along there. And then also follow us along on Instagram at Cougar House Garage. That I'm very active on the daily story. And it's a good way for you guys to keep up with all the crazy projects. And we'll see you guys tomorrow or in the next episode.